And we're live at WROX, a broadcast of Radio Free America, September 9th, 2023. This is Meet the Rocks. I'm Sean Adam, your host. Live from Rock and Roll Mine, we find Herkimer diamonds daily in our broadcasts. So, here we are at a tailing pile that was created from the Bigfoot pocket. Well, this tripod no longer wants to do what we ask. And we're live at Rock and Roll Mine. I think this tripod may have seen its final day. Probably. I wouldn't doubt it. Okay, first one of the day. Gonna have to figure out some kind of a workaround for this tripod today. Dropped it already. It's a nice one. First find of the morning. This tripod's totally screwed up. Here's a piece of druze just sitting here in the tailings that got washed. Pretty cool piece. All right, we're just gonna cruise around, see if we can find anything in the tailings. It's rained. It's rained quite a bit the last few days, and we're gonna see what we can find. Just a little something. I don't know what. I don't check these tailings too often. It's not a whole lot in here. There's a lot of calcite in here. A lot of calcite crystals. This comes from the Bigfoot. It was just filled with calcite, and there are nice ones in there like this one, but they are few and far between. So I put all this stuff over here to wash it. And just haven't gotten around to it yet. It's a piece of glass. It looked shiny. Okay, well, the tripod has died today. We're gonna have to do something. There's one just sitting right in a bug. I don't know what's going on with that thing. How I missed that for such a long time. I guess it was probably filled with stuff. Must have been. Seems like some worms been making their rounds here. You can see it's a little. So I appreciate those worms for doing that work. Thanks, worms. And other weird little insects. Oops. Just shoving it further back in the bug. It's not that deep. Okay. There's that little one. It's a little flat tabby. It's got a flat top. Or a flat bottom, I don't know which one. Something's flat. Pretty interesting shape. Really perfect crystal. Okay, so we've been doing this for 10 minutes and 57 seconds, and we found 2 gems so far. We just got here. We ain't never gonna stop. We just got here. Let's see if there's anything else in that. This tripod has died and will no longer, it'll try, but it can't pod, apparently. It can just try. So it's doing half its job at this point. I'm not impressed. This whole thing might get a little bit deep. There might be a worm in there. I think it pushed the crystal out. It was like, get out of here, crystal. Okay. We are definitely gonna have tripod problems today. I'm gonna maybe have to just super glue it. I don't know what's going on here, but I think that that's 2 millipedes making love, sweet love. And this is a nature show, so I just want to let you guys know about that. I feel like I should get out of here and give them their space. All right, well, we got these from there, and then we felt uncomfortable and had to leave. Like, would a therapist even believe me about all of my... We're just going to leave that one for the future of mankind. Or me, when I decide to rake all of this. There's one just kind of sitting. It's embedded in there. It's like between 2 rocks. It's just sort of hanging out. I really don't remember finding it, but I did, and I left it there. Because it's better off there for right now, for today, and probably tomorrow, and all of the days after. But, you know, it's good to walk around and just look at the different areas that I've already worked in, because we could find these. Anything can happen around here. That rock still doesn't want to come out of there. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's holding the whole mountain up. Hard to say. I had a bag of things. go back. Okay, now we're down inside this pond, and sometimes rocks end up down here, and they smash around. Who knows, maybe there's some crystals down here that popped out of a bug and flew. Yeah, that's what we've got so far. Just a bunch of babies. Just a bunch of babies. Baby crystals. Felt like maybe I needed to be specific. I gotta drag these tailings again. I don't really see anything in it. One thing I have to do right now is go back to the farmhouse. Here's some cool drews that I laid out on a rock to get cleaned off. Here's another piece. Just kind of laid them there because I thought maybe there might be something cool about them. Bunch of little perchers on there. But here's so far, the nicest one that we found today. Right out of a vug. Got like a flat tabby face going on. Real gemmy. Flat tab. Really perfect, just pulled it right out of this little tiny vug. Which is probably what made it so flat. It's got rock and roll clarity. Perfectly stable. It's tiny though. Okay. There's proof that we burned all of our lampshades in retaliation. I'm not going to explain why. I'm not going to get into the politics of it. Just want to let you guys know we burned the lampshades. I suggest you burn your lampshades too. Another thing I suggest, grow a darn vegetable. we got 3. 1, 2, 3 vegetables. Okay. That's it. That's all we grew this year. Last year we grew hundreds of pounds of vegetables, and this year I've had enough of them. This year I only grew 3 vegetables. And they're rogue vegetables. They grew themselves. I'm probably just going to let them go ahead and go crazy. Put more seeds down. Vegetables are probably just going to live their lives there. And then next season there will be more vegetables. Here we are at the Rock and Roll Garage, where all of the unfinished products that I'm engineering and reverse engineering. This can fry anything in it. Oreos, whole cake, typically. All right, we got the crystal tube. We've got it. So we're just going to go ahead and put these in there. Crystals from yesterday are also still in there because we have not filled the crystal tube yet. Since Susan lost the donut sponsorship with Happy Ending Cream Pie Donuts, I've had to start purchasing donuts. And I'm going to tell you guys, that $1,000 check, I am flying through it because donuts are like $6. I really believed in that sponsorship. I really thought that we had that sponsorship secured. But apparently in corporate America, they can just lie to you, and if you sign the contract, it doesn't matter. It's happened to all the greats. Get yourself some donuts. Here's some crystals we found yesterday. Okay, we need a new tripod. It's important to give back to nature. And share. Just if you got some donuts, just share them. You know, you walk into work, throw some donuts on the table. Bring a little joy and happiness to your coworkers. We're at Rock and Roll Mine. This is Bigfoot Pocket. I'm Sean Adam, your host, corresponding with viewers, friends, maybe a few family members. I'm sorry if you're in my family and you're here watching this. Okay, here are some crystals. They're just kind of hanging out a little bit. Maybe there might be some. This is the Great Wall of Rock and Roll. We're just looking to see if any of our work is... We're looking for passive income. You know, like the kind of income that you're making when you're sleeping, you know? Well, some people, they invest in stocks. I throw rocks into rocks and then see if there's any shiny rocks that happen from the rock hitting the other rock. And then I go to sleep. And then it maybe rains, or maybe like a Sasquatch pees, or like fairies do some magical things because they like me and I leave them presents all the time. Like, you know, I just threw a box of donuts on the ground over there. Throw a safety meeting out there every once in a while. Tell the world about him on my totally super cool podcast called WROX. So then if they're like, yeah, cool, man, he's totally promoting us out there in the world, every once in a while they'll just do a thing where they leave me some cool stuff in a rock because they know that I like these things. So they're like, yeah, put another one of those things over there for him. And if he finds it, cool. And if not, he'll find it eventually. So then, somehow or another, Luna Lou, she's friends with him. I'm a little bit jealous. She won't tell me where they live, but I'm pretty sure that they're having late night cocaine parties because she's always awake all night. She's just a teenager. She comes home at 4:30 in the morning. Her eyes are wide. Looks like her heart is going 700 miles an hour. She has a dead bird head. I'm like, wow, you are fucking weird. First of all, I feel really uncomfortable when that happens. I don't know what to say as a parent. Do I call the cops? What do I do? Okay, here's a pile of junk that has some stuff in it from some other stuff. Looks like some broken crystal pieces from, or maybe that's calcite. I think that's gemmy calcite looking stuff. Yeah, that's calcite. There might be a herc or two in here, but I think this is some Herkimer County clear calcite. Some of the stuff gets real gemmy. It's not, you can't do much of anything with it. It's just kind of cool for a second when you find it, and then you realize that you have bills to pay, and so you have to just continue on with your journey from Herkimer County to China, and then on to straight through the ground. We're hitting it in multiple directions. This is the vampire stake. This is a directional infrastructure. We know where we're at when we get to the vampire stake. I'm just going to leave these here for now. And I'm gonna, if I'm being honest, circle back around to Donut, which is another temporary geographical location where we have compartmentalized past investments that we may need to revisit. Now, just to be clear, this is WROX, and WROX is brought to you by Radio Free America. Now, recently, we were required by the Broadcasting Associates of America to state our value to our shareholders. So we came up with this short list of WROX, Radio Free America, nutritional facts. Each episode contains 6 servings. A serving size is 1 donut. Each serving contains 330 empty calories. You can read the rest for yourself, but there's really no protein in any of our broadcasts. And potassium is extremely difficult to come by on the earth, and even more difficult to get into your body. So WROX and Radio Free America have a very low potassium rating. Don't hold it against us. here we are in a big hole in the fucking ground. And we're broadcasting live. And we ain't never gonna stop. Okay? We got a new sponsorship. We've been making so much money from that sponsorship that we've been paying for these donuts, Susan. Okay? I'm not even holding it back, okay? Some people, they go out there, they want to try to buy a Bugatti. They want a Lambo. I'm just out here fucking up these donuts in a hole in the earth. Try and stop me. Y'all don't even know where I'm at. Try and stop me. You cannot stop me. Because I ain't never going to stop. There was a pocket there. And shit starts getting hectic over there. It's not being agreeable with me yet. So I think that there's a good possibility that all of this bullshit needs to go. Because I want to get up over here and stuff. Something's in there. It's probably rocks. I mean, I can see rocks. I know there's rocks in there. If you live in a country that's invested in any of these rocks for the Great Wall of Rock and Roll, you can feel proud of your country. You can know that your country has contributed and that we all finally found something to agree upon. We love the Great Wall of Rock and Roll so much, we're going to take the last bite of our donut. Look, that's how organized I am. And we're going to throw it into the wall for the chipmunks that may or may not live in, around, or under the wall. I feel bad for the chipmunks because Lunaloo is hard to deal with. She's murderous. She's nice, but she's a murderer also. Okay, so I think what I'm going to have to do for this tripod, I've been avoiding the tripod situation. But we do have one. We have a tripod situation. I think that the technical term for it would be flippity floppity, and that's what the tripod is doing. So without further ado, we're gonna just go ahead and go into the secret emergency bag of secret emergency items. And I carry few, and there's very few of them in here. In case you need to have a barbecue, you have to have this. This is a lot of knives inside of a knife. Because if you're going to use a knife, it's best to have like 10 different knives inside of a knife. And then we've got some empty matches, which is very important. It's always very important to have at least one empty pack of matches, especially if you're in a survival situation. This is the one thing that you know that you're going to need with you. And of course, just in case, one full, mostly full pack of matches. That way you can empty them if you run out of your other more important empty pack of matches. And then you'll have another empty pack. And then, last but not least, and of course our most important thing, glue. Now you would think that I wouldn't be that interested in glue, since mostly I'm taking things apart. But sometimes, and I do mean on very rare occasion, I do think to myself, maybe I should stick it all back together. And so for those days, I have this glue. Okay. I hope you're not uncomfortable, but I have glued your arms and legs together. I'm just waiting for them to dry. Once your arms and legs have dried, I'll be able to get back to work. That bird is in car alarm mode, and it sounds really distressed. But that's just what they sound like all the time, I guess. Alright, well, even though I glued you, it's not drying and it can still move. So, we gotta glue more, I think. It's usually just glue more. Alright, where can we put this? Well, I think it's time to clean off this shelf. we got a good foot of dirt there. We want to probably start knocking down some of these bigger boulders pretty soon. It's going to be a few days, but and then there's this. We want to kind of continue off that way, right? While we also continue off that way. And by we, I mean, you know, us, but we only have 2 arms, and they just happen to be mine. But I'm letting you borrow them. You gotta pay rent though. I'm gonna just pull all that shit back and see where's the real floor here. I'll start by just shaving off that top layer. Seeing if I can do it the easy way, but I'm gonna guess that I probably can't do it the easy way, and that these are gonna be boulders and a bunch of junk that came from way up there a long time ago. Here we are, people, at Rock and Roll. Let's check out some of the crystals that were discovered in yesterday's lives. Morning and evening edition lives. How does he do it? Even I don't know the answer to that question. I'm just stupider than most people and willing to do dumb crap. Here we go with some crystals from yesterday's live. It's kind of a bigger version of the smaller one that we found this morning. It's tabby. It's got a big flat face. I should probably look at some comments. Yeah, that's a real nice one though. The clarity on these is just really, really good. They're not huge. I'm not finding gigantic Herkimer diamond crystals. I'm not freaking out, screaming at them and stuff. I'm just checking out these perfectly amazing gemstones. Here's a real cool blue tone. I love these. Where am I? Okay. Really nice blue and black tone. Just sitting on a little piece of matrix there. I think it was touching some rock right here. It'll probably clean up and look pretty good. There's a little tiny gemstone down there. A little bit of a kind of a sideways twin. Wanted to be a scepter. Kind of a thing. I've heard that scepters are rare in Middleville, but we seem to find them. It's got a little tiny rider. There's a crazy little piece of Drew's. It's got some little perchers on there. Really tiny. Micro specimen. Okay. What else do we have? What other interesting things have we discovered together? If you're just tuning in, this is WROX, a radio videoscope broadcast of live at Rock and Roll Mine in Herkimer County. I'm Sean Adam, your host. Well, luckily we threw this safety meeting on the ground right here yesterday at some point, and then, you know, the fairies got real stoned, and then they dropped this crystal there. So they always do. They love getting super stoned. It's like their favorite stuff. They just drop crystals everywhere as soon as, you know, like they have a party at night. It's like all night kind of thing, all night affair. That might be a piece of calcite, I really don't know. It's so small. It's not really sunny today here, but it's not dark either. Okay. One's split in half, I think. It's just a half of one. They split themselves perfectly in half sometimes. And then they re-heal themselves that way. So that's the splintered part. And then the faces are still pretty good. Is that what we're calling this rock? This rock's called, name is Bozo. No, I don't need no friends. I don't need no friends over here. Then the next thing you know, they want a Herkimer diamond. Nah, I'm like, no. I like to just do things by myself. Me and this hammer. Just me and this hammer. Or two, maybe even two hammers. Alright, well, I'm trying to get motivated. I'm waiting for those donuts to kick in. I don't know if you guys can hear the airplane flying overhead, but I'm pretty sure that might be the team that we had recently contact us to do an overhead flyby with their remote viewing radar. This is a piece of porcelain pottery that I just found sitting next to me. So, I'm an archaeologist. I don't know if you guys, sometimes I just need to remind you guys that there are multiple schools primarily the mystery school. Some archaeology, some psychological help is needed. Here's a very, very tiny one that I just located. It's right under my foot. It's just right under my foot the whole time. Lots of little ones. Lots of babies. All up in this. I don't know what's going on with that. All right, great. Finally, we got our helicopter delivered. WROX. We fly helicopters. Sometimes I just don't feel like lifting heavy things. That's just a whole vug of Drews. So that's promising. That's a good sign. Came from up under there. I'd say there were definitely a bunch of little tiny crystals in that. They might be a little difficult to find in this stuff. But that's a pretty big bug. That's rock. All right, so here's a nice piece with some little perchers sitting there. Nice chunk. All right, so far this morning, I'm just looking around in the tailings, just cruising around, checking out, taking a minute, about an hour so far, to really just pay attention to the details of some stuff that I was Just kind of blasting through for the past week. Looking to see if anything ended up on the ground. See a bunch of little ones here and there, but really nothing too significant. Some of it's so small you can't even pick it up. So but every once in a while you run into a nice one. And so that's makes it worth it. But it's just good to take a look, figure out what's what. Make sure you're not throwing away good gemmy material in the tailings. Just take a few minutes. I usually do it about once a week. I do it every day, but then at the end of the week, I just kind of cruise around, take my time, and look through. Especially if it's rained. It's got a little rider on the front of it, it looks like. Maybe a touch mark. It's hard to tell. I think it is a little rider. There's a little rider there too. Okay. It's a pretty good little gem. And it's not a Palmer, but it's gemmy. Oh, I picked up the wrong thing. Now I don't know where it went. It was too small and I missed it. All right, so there's two more. WROX is brought to you by Radio Free America. Live from Rock and Roll Mine is a broadcast from Herkimer County. We report the rocks. Sometimes we report crystals, but not as much as we report rock. rocks. Here, for example, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 boulders and 1 crystal. Statistically speaking, that's nowhere near as many rocks as you might have to move to find this kind of a crystal. But just to give you some kind of an example, and that, folks, is why we report the rocks. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you know when we're doing lives. In lives, we do weird things like show you 5 billion-year-old stromatolite fossils that are stuck to the side of a rock. So you might want to come along for the ride. We also share with you in-depth journeys into strange places no one has ever seen before. Science and technology that occurs only in the earth. And the soothing sounds of chainsaws, dogs, goats, 18-wheelers, and your host, Sean Adam. That's me. They say that when you've been looking at a computer for a long time, every once in a while it's real good to look real far away so your eyes don't get all squished up and only see close computer things. So I'm just trying, this is a therapeutic session. Now you have to, as the viewer, look very far away, way over there, just for 10 seconds. Okay, that was 10, I think. I don't really know numbers that good, but okay, here's a place where we thought we might look for some crystals, and we may have found some. It was probably a while ago. Let's see if we can get a handful of this stuff, and maybe there's something in there that we missed. How does he do it? How does he do it, you know? I mean, I don't even know. I don't know how I do it, but here's a crystal. Looks a little bit chunky. Looks like it was a percher. Yep, it was just a little point perched in there somewhere. And between us and the worms, we liberated it. Okay, now we're in some light. Let's see what else we can find in there. How about that one? There's one right there. Let me know if you see anything else. I was just gonna put that one back in there for now. And let's see, what do we see in here? I definitely see 2. Let's go for a walk with this junk. Space junk. Let's put it on top of our grill. Okay, here we have one. Two. That's a chunky piece of something. Quartzy. They're not the most beautiful. They're not the most beautiful we've ever found together. But for a handful of stuff in a vug, not bad. Okay, so here's a pretty cool piece of druze that I just left here to wash itself off in the rain. Here's its friend. It's like right next to it. It's starting to look a little cloudy. WROX is brought to you by Radio Free America, broadcast live from Herkimer County and Boise, Idaho. Please tune in later this afternoon for noontime nuggets. This has been the morning edition broadcast of WROX in Herkimer County. We report the rocks.